Peace, everybody. We are here with Brother Hondo Solomon, the author of the POLYGAMIST Papers, which is actually a pretty good book, by the way. I just want to interject that in there. And yes, sir, definitely. It's a real good book. I recommend everybody to check it out. It's on, you can get it on Amazon, or you could get it. Tell them, first of all, before I even get into all the introductions, tell them about your book and tell them where they can purchase it at.
The Polygamist Papers is subtitled An Introduction to Polygamous Culture and Its Principles, Pitfalls, and Ethics. And it's a short 54-page volume, and it is what the next book was supposed to be. The sequel is called Polygamy as Economic Warfare, a dossier on family rule and government. That debuts shortly. I'll put it like that. And It's going to be packaged real nice for y'all. Y'all are going to enjoy the options that you have regarding its presentation.
Right.
That book is going to be a few hundred pages, actually. So it's going to be huge, and I've already got close to 300 chapters in that book.
Wow.
And these are all, some chapters are longer than others, obviously, because of the scope and the nature of each portion. But at any rate, you can get it on Amazon.com. I will restore the Kindle version so that you can read. You can use it on your e-reader. I will also have it on Lulu.com, which is going to spread it through Barnes and Noble, so you'll be able to also use it on the Nook. And I'm going to get it on the Apple Reader as well. I forgot what that's called, but Apple also has a Apple also has a digital e-reader.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to get an ebook version as well. That's going to be through Lulu. So it's going to be actually a newer version of the shorter volume, as well as a larger, more voluminous work, which covers the application of polygamy along with the contents of the original volume.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for that brief introduction. Now,
yes, also, sir. You want to go to youtube.com/Hondo Solomon 7. That's the number 7. And you will find me. There's 94 videos on polygamy. Right now, the book on Amazon has 52 reviews, average of 4.6 out of 5 star for the customer rating. And it is tied with 4 other books, I believe, for 4th place out of about 4,000 books on the subject of polygamy on that site. So we're doing very well. We're doing very well with this book. It was actually a runaway success. I expected some people to like it, but I didn't expect it to be so highly rated. Especially it's a very short book, but it's got a lot of information in it. So those of you who want to know about polygamy, you want to get that introduction. That introduction is fire. I mean, you've read it.
I've read the book, and I'm glad that you introduced yourself and let everyone know where they can purchase the book, and you gave your personal take on it. I want to give my personal review because I said a long time ago that, by the way, I'm Anur Allah, for anybody that's listening, I know his voice speaking. When I myself said, when I purchased the book, because I actually seen the book a long time ago, long before you and I even connected, I seen the book and was aware of your work. And when you hear in America and you hear people talk about polygamy and you hear this American version of stuff, you get the TV version and all of this stuff. And
it's media-driven.
Yes, media-driven Western mindset stuff. And when I read that book, even though it was a small book, it was small, but it was packing firecracker. It was fireworks. It was a powerhouse. And it shifted my perspective, not only my perspective, but my approach as a polygynous man. It shifted my entire approach. And I would say it actually made me more effective in my relations with women, my women in general, my women in particular.
Now, how did it change your approach to polygamy?
Wow. Okay. Well, I was always I believe.
I like hearing from readers.
Yes, sir.
Not only did they like the book. I mean, a lot of people are gonna like the book, but why?
See, this is the way an interview should go. See, at first I was like, I don't know what to say. I didn't know what to ask. I said, because I was trying to think. But when it flows naturally, it just flows. And I think an interview should be both ways. Right. And I'm glad that you asked that question because, just with myself, I believe that it was just in my blood. Like my grandfather, he wasn't a polygamist, meaning he didn't have multiple wives, but he had a lot of women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My biological father, my biological, these men were polygynous men, you know. And me, myself, I always had, like, when I was younger, lots of female friends, had, like, lots of women around me. I didn't understand fully what it was.
Orbiters. They're called orbiters.
Yes.
Whenever women are always kind of around,
right?
You know.
Okay, yeah, that's a good term because they're planets, you know.
Yep.
So, or they're like planets rather. Mm-hmm. So I've always had that around me, but I was conditioned to believe that, you know, one man for one woman, and that was the standard and the right way. Yeah. So I always thought of it as, okay, maybe I just have a lot of women friends, but then as wow, you asked a loaded question. I'm trying to give the short end of it without giving a long story. But to make a long story short, I successfully practiced monogamy in the past. You know, monogamous relationships. I practiced them successfully, meaning that I was able to do so without quote unquote cheating or quote unquote stepping out.
Well, you know, we want to say this too.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't understand something because we're living in the West.
Right.
And when you say successful monogamous relationships in the past that you've had past tense, a lot of people say, well, you had them, that means it's not successful. Well, it depends on what your goals are as a man
and how you define success. Yes.
See, and how you define, like if you only wanted a woman for short term,
mm-hmm.
like say 7 years, then you'll have her for 7 years.
Right.
And if you want to extend it, you can. So it just depends. Now, if you were going for a lifelong thing where it's marriage, died in the war, political, through the state marriage, okay, fine. And we can say that project failed. But when you're not doing that and you're in the West, your success is defined by how you manage the relationship. And did you meet the goals that you stated as a man? Because you're the founder and the project director of your marriage. Of your relationship with a woman. Well,
in this context, how I define success, when I say successful monogamy, the relationships I succeeded in not quote unquote stepping out or so-called cheating or etc. So in that even though the relationships did not last, I succeeded in being, as they would call, quote unquote, faithful to one woman, loyal to one woman. But anyway, when
you were saying how it changed your approach.
Oh yes, now how it changed my approach. Now, even though I successfully practiced, meaning I was able to do so, I still always felt that I was polygynous by nature. And, you know, okay. After one relationship, a specific relationship failed, I said, you know what? Because this was the last sister that I offered monogamy to. So I said, you know what? No, I'm just going to accept that I'm polygynous from this point on. And I'm going to openly accept it. You know, I was pro-polygamy.
Because you read the book.
I haven't read the book wait. No, I haven't read the book yet at this time. I was pro-polygyny, but I was still practicing monogamy. And after me and his sister broke up because she was so hardcore on monogamy, you know, and I'm like, this chick didn't even deserve it. But anyway, that's when I just said I'm openly embracing myself as a polygynist. And that was the same time I read your book. And I read the book. I purchased the book. You and I connected. I purchased the book and I read it. And it was so traditional. It was completely non-conformist, completely. It was like you didn't care about what society's standards of monogamous romantic relationships would be. It was very traditional and very non-conformist. So as I read it, it changed my mental approach and outlook on relationships with women in general and polygyny, and it changed my approach. And since then, I just have to say this: the women that I've attracted to my site, and you've met some of them, they're the most feminine, the most cooperative, the most, wow. It's just like, I read it and it changed my vibe.
And I'm vouching for that because I've met them. You know, I've either spoken with them or I've met them.
Right.
You know, and see, that's another thing too. When it comes to this, a lot of people think that we're making stuff up.
Right.
Like myth and legend. It's like, no, we see the brothers, we know each other. A lot of us know each other.
Right.
And a lot of us know each other's families and we know each other's harems.
Right.
We know we've met the women.
Right.
You just got done talking to one of my women.
Oh yeah, very feminine, very ladylike, very womanly, just traditional woman, very beautiful.
Now, Now, see, she wasn't ugly.
Right.
Okay. Did she seem like she lacked self-esteem?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
You even saw the messages, some of the messages she sent when I notified her. I said, you know, we're about to meet up with my brother.
Right.
And you saw how she responded.
Right.
And you saw the things she said. She said, well, let me make myself presentable.
Right. That's what she said.
See, she didn't come out here in no dukes.
Right.
She didn't come out here in draws.
Right.
She came out here
like a woman.
Like a woman. And she was very sweet.
Right.
And she was even reluctant to speak because she understands that her place as a woman is not to be talking to my brothers unless I give that authority.
Correct.
See, it wasn't like she was one of the guys and trying to dip herself into our conversation and get all in our presence.
Right. Wait, hold that thought. We want to get everything. We hear freight somewhere in the background. We out here in Georgia, deep in the country, you know.
Yeah, we way out there.
It's nice out here.
Way out there. And you know, that's important though, because people think that we're spouting nonsense. Like oh, by the way, let me say this. The woman you just met of mine,
yes, sir,
my consort, or one of my consorts, she speaks 7 languages.
Wow. Wow, this is my first time hearing that on this video.
Yeah, she speaks 7 languages. In fact, she was teaching me 2 of the languages this morning.
Right.
And we were talking about an hour. We were spending about an hour on that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was clarifying some things for me, because some things I had heard in both of those languages before, because one of my other consorts speaks 3 languages. Mm-hmm. See, so, you know, these women are intelligent.
Right.
And as you saw, her emotional intelligence is high.
Right. It's high. And she's also, she was shy. And I remember she was shy, like feminine shy. And I remember saying to you.
She said, oh, I'm a little bit shy to
yes.
your brother.
And that's a beautiful thing, because shyness is an attribute of feminine. It's a feminine attribute, you know. And when men embrace their masculinity, their patriarchy all the way, you're going to actually, your vibe is going to shift. You're going to attract those type of women. See, a lot of brothers are scared to be men, their masculine selves, because society's told them that the masculine patriarchal man is the boogeyman. You don't want to be him because everybody's going to hate you and you're the big bad boogie monster. But bro, after reading your book and learning other things and applying these things to my life, yo, my life has gotten so much better. I've been traveling. I've been making more money. I've been meeting more people, making better connections. It's just like, yo, you just embrace who you are. It's like I said, I don't want to take the topic because this is your topic, is your floor. But that book and the information that you present in the book, as well as in general, is very powerful.
You know, I appreciate the honors, brother.
Yes, sir.
See, when I sat down to write the book, it was just supposed to be like a 20-page pamphlet.
Right.
And I just wanted to answer, literally, I was going to answer maybe 10 to 15 questions about polygamy.
Right.
And I was just going to literally going to just sell it as an ebook for about $3.
Right.
That's all I was going to do with it.
Right.
And it turns into this vast project. And it's been almost an 8-year, by the time the large volume of Polygamy is Economic Warfare debuts, it'll be an 8-year project.
Wow.
And over 50,000 hours of primary research. Primary research, not just what people are saying. This is from people's experiences.
Right.
And I'm culling all this information.
Right.
And of course, your experience and my experience too as a polygamist, it is, you know, then I grew up in it too. I've told you that story before.
Yes, sir.
I grew up in it was more of a Western style, but it was definitely a harem life.
Right.
And it's something that I saw. So it's, you know, I'm glad that the book has made really such a wide impact. I mean, when you look at my overall media, even with the YouTube videos, I mean, I've got nearly 100 videos now. I think I've got 95 videos on polygamy now on YouTube. And they don't get a lot of hits. You've seen it. I don't get a lot of hits on my videos. I don't get a lot of views.
The best videos usually don't. The real stuff, where you're putting out that real content, usually don't. The silly, the dog jumped over the hula hoop, that gets 1 million, whatever, hits and nonsense. But
well, if you look at the polygamy videos that are on YouTube, most of them have tens of thousands of views.
Mm-hmm.
I think my video right now, and I took my videos down at one point and then posted them back up. So I think the one with the most views probably had only 4,000 views.
Right.
And yet my work has had the biggest impact at least in the West, on the discussion regarding polygamy.
Right.
For instance, on Facebook, for instance, nobody was talking about polygamy as much as I
No.
started to.
Right.
That was 7 years. That was over 7 years ago. Nobody was really on polygamy like that.
Right.
I said in another video, in one of the Facebook Live videos, I said there was Wise Nubian, there was Dream Girl 360. They were the only ones on YouTube talking about polygamy.
Right.
Wise Nubian had, I think, 10 videos, and Dream Girl 360 at the time only had 3 videos. And they were all good videos. I mean, a lot of people don't like Brother Wise Nubian's approach, but he's on point.
Right.
Everything he said was correct. He should be upset. We have to remember, Brother Wise Nubian is older. He's had more life experience than a lot of us, and he comes from a polygamous culture. So to see things deteriorate from his perspective, of course he's going to sound angry. A lot of people are like, oh, he sounds so angry. Of course, when you are in the midst of destruction and decay, when you know better.
Right.
You know what life looks like, and you know what construction and maintenance look like. You're going to be upset, and you're going to be on fire. I mean,
right.
you're going to go in like he goes in. And I actually enjoy his approach. As men, each of us is going to have a different approach to address economic issues, and I think that we need that. We can't always have a nice milquetoast approach just so that, say, women will like us.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
We're men, and when we have to go in to solve problems, that's not always going to be a very comfortable thing. But brother, I know I'm glad that you not only enjoyed the book, but that it's impacted your life in that sense. Because, like I said, I'm just a guy who sat down to write a book, and it was only because I made 4 videos myself and put them on YouTube, and it was too many people asking questions. I said, let me just put all this stuff in a book, and I had to pull together a lot of my experiences at the time. Actually, the moment that I wrote that book, I remember I was dating 4 women. This is back when I was still dating. I was dating 4 women. And then I had a woman, my main woman, who actually lived in another state. And most people didn't know that. They assumed that I didn't have any women at the time. But, I don't.
That's what they say a lot of times. Show us your woman. First of all, what do we have to show you? What if a man is really a man about his? A lot of men, look, men protect their women, and part of protecting their women is, look, I ain't gonna have you display. I ain't gonna mention no names, but some of these brothers in the conscious community that call themselves polygamists got their women all on display, everything showing that. Nah, come on, man, we civilized people.
Now you may do that to prove a point, but at the same time, you don't do it because you have to show people that you got some women.
Right.
It's some wives, some consorts, some concubines. You don't have to do that. In fact, the people who are really engaged in polygamy and have been doing it the longest, you generally don't even hear from them.
Right, exactly.
See, you generally don't hear from them. Now, those who know me personally know I have women. I mean, you just met one of my consorts.
Yes, so a few of them, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's funny to me, and see, the one you just spoke with is my new one.
Right.
And you saw how she acted. And see, I don't, there are no arguments.
No.
You saw the things that she said, the messages she sent to me. She addresses me by title.
Right.
And she started doing that on her own. I didn't have to tell her that.
Mr. Sir and Sire. And...
Yeah, exactly. And it's very, very respectful vibration between us. And I appreciate that. And that, that's what men need. We don't want to come home to anything but peace, because we're already out here in the world facing issues and problems and things we have to solve. And just in general, having a lot on our plate. So when we come home, we just want our women to be peaceful. And there is no excuse for a woman being anything but peaceful. There is no excuse.
Right.
Well, he won't, and he did. Well, listen, if he's not a drug kingpin, if he's not sexually abusing children and women, if he's not, if he's not being egregious and transgressing, okay, which is purposeful sinfulness, okay, women don't need to worry about what men are doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, because at that point, even if they disagree or they would prefer us to do something else, if it's not harming, if it's not doing harm to you, a woman shouldn't worry about it. In fact, you saw how my consort responded when I said, hey, I just wanted us all to, break bread and meet, and I want you to meet my brother. You notice she fell back and she said, okay, take care of yourself, and that's it.
Right. Right.
That's it. You didn't see her going back and forth and popping off at the mouth, nothing like that. And she was very presentable in the way she conducted her affairs. And a lot of what I like about her in particular is that when I met her, there was a lot that I just didn't have to teach her. I didn't have to go into no protocols and all ethics, manners, and customs.
Do you think that has to do with the cultural upbringing? Because she's from a different country, and usually American women, black, white, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Nowadays that doesn't come with the average American woman.
It doesn't. And even when we were growing up, because we were about the same age when we were growing up, we still had a lot of women who had manners and ethics and customs. We remember that.
Yes.
But we were younger. And as we got older, the environment became harsher. And I don't care what people are saying. It's not always men's fault.
Right.
Okay. Now, on your point, you're absolutely correct. She came from a culture that I actually appreciate, and I've got other consorts from that country. And when I'm there and I'm spending time, it's peaceful. There's not a bunch of internal warfare in the household, and I have to wonder where everybody is at. And no, there's an accountability structure between me and their kinsmen.
That's the way it should be.
So now there's from all sides. We're surrounding and protecting the woman. We're also protecting myself and just the family in general, because especially when it's new over there in that land, they want to protect the new couple.
Right.
So they do their best to protect everybody.
Right.
And actually, I'm about to build us a house.
Beautiful. A
temporary home. Now, mind you, this is a temporary home. I've already got the design specs from my consort. She drew up what she wanted, and it's actually a very beautiful design. In fact, I'll show you that when we finish the video.
Yes, sir.
But she said, "Sir, this is what I would like." And that home is, I want it to be comfortable for her. But it's funny. But her family came to her and said, Sir Hondo needs to be more comfortable when he comes back. So ask him, does he want us to have him a house built?
Right.
Now, see, this goes into something else.
Right.
Men don't got to run up and buy a woman a house when they get married. I'm about to spend less than $1,000, and I'm about to have a house.
Right, look at that.
And for the next house, all I'm purchasing are the building materials. All I'm purchasing are the building materials, and I've already got land. I've got land for both those homes I just mentioned.
That leads me to this question.
Which means,
yes, sir.
Which means just to end that point, which means that, guys, whenever you take on a woman, whether she's a wife, a consort, or concubine, you need to get something back for your efforts, because your leadership is priceless.
Yes.
We really can't put a price tag on it. Women need to bring money, and or the woman has a business or more, or 2 or 3. She needs to bring land. You need to have access to resources when you take on a woman. It's not just, oh, she's cute and she likes me and she agrees with polygamy. That's irrelevant.
Wow, you brought up 2 things that I want to wow.
Sure.
Okay, the first thing.
Just let me know when the video's about to stop.
Okay. When does it start? At 30 minutes?
No, just whenever.
Oh, okay, got it.
But it should give you a signal.
Okay, well, in the Holy Quran, right? Which is, for those who listen, that's the holy book of Muslims. It's when it mentions polygamy, right? It the context that it brings it in is talking about the orphaned women, or with property, those with property, and this tells the believing men, to marry up to 4 of them. But if you cannot do justice by them, right? If you feel you can't do justice by them, then marry one whom you're a right-hand possession. Now in that context, it's talking about women with property, orphaned women with property and money and resources, versus a maidservant or a woman whom your right hand possess, meaning a woman that doesn't have a lot of property. So in this context, and historically, the women of the Ummah, the community that had resources, they were not allowed to marry men of foreign nations, because if they married men of those foreign nations, that foreign nation or the men of those foreign nations would gain access to that nation's resources through intermarriage.
Your wealth, your pool of wealth.
Right.
You're thinning out your pool of wealth. It makes sense.
Right.
Because in Islam, one of the things that especially the men like to keep is wealth within the Islamic community.
Right.
That's very within Ummah. It's very important.
Right. So that's the thing. So it's
you're doing it through marriage. In this case,
yes.
You brought up, you're doing it through marriage. Again, y'all have seen me speak for kinship bonding through marriage. You build power through marriage.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, of course, say, no, man, I'm just going to be tricking out here.
Right.
And no, marriage is, well, you're talking about in a Western construct. Of course, marriage can hurt you. But when you're talking about traditional classical marriage, there should always be a transfer of wealth from the woman's family to you.
Right.
Now, this can be direct through a dowry, which goes to the man, and or the man now has access to land. Like right now, I'm about to gain a lot more land just by taking on 2 more consorts.
Right. And this is land in other countries.
Yes.
So this is international business that you're setting up. This is actually an empire.
Now, this whole time, a lot of people thought I was jiving all these years when I said, look, this is what we should be doing. But I'm out here doing it. And, I'm not rich with money. I went in to my consort's land, and these people had never seen me before. They didn't know me from a rock on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first met them, they said, not only can you take our daughter, but that same afternoon, I looked at my consort. I remember because we were standing outside just enjoying the weather, and I said, I want you to ask your father if I can have a piece of this land to build us a house on. And she looked me in the face. She said, okay, sir. And don't you know, before the sun went down that day, I had almost half an acre of land.
Look at this. See,
now that's all I had to do was get, and she's my consort. She's of the middle rank.
Right.
So this wasn't even my covenant wife.
Right.
See, so no matter the rank of the woman or the class or the style of the woman that you're obtaining, guys, you want to make sure you get something out of that. Now, what this is going to do, Brother Anur, this is going to make women step up to the plate when we start talking like this.
Right.
During the mate selection process and the courtship process, we need to tell the woman's family, like, okay, I would like this in return for my leadership, for taking on your daughter.
Right.
It's okay for us to say that because that's the negotiating table.
Right.
See,
hopefully
that's making sense.
It made perfect sense because you brought it right back square to the other question I wanted to ask.
Mm-hmm.
See, usually when we hear Westerners mention polygyny or polygamy, they say, well, for a man to do it, he has to be a millionaire. And he has to own a whole bunch of this and a whole bunch of that. He has to have a whole lot of money and et cetera, et cetera. What would you say are the necessary requirements or necessary tools or gifts or whatever it is that a man has to have in order to successfully practice polygamy?
I would say that, first of all, and we're talking about the highest level. Of course, any man, if he chooses to, can engage in polygamy, okay? Right. If he chooses. But if you're talking about in his highest form, you want to be a man of character. You want to have some high level of character because you're going to start dealing with different personalities, first with your women and then any children if she's a widow. And I'm not counting you taking on women who are just out there sleeping around and got a bunch of babies. We ain't including them. We're talking about women who are widows. You can actually go in and you can marry them, but you have to be a man of character in order to handle such a construct. There's also the issue of charisma. A man needs charisma in order to pull that off, and this comes down to just on a street level.
Right.
Women want to like you.
Right.
A woman wants to genuinely look at you and say, yeah, that's my husband.
Right.
And be able to say that with a smile on her face.
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to have a level of charisma
and character.
Yeah, exactly. Some men are more boisterous than others. Some men are quiet. one of my consorts, in fact, the same consort you just missed, she said she was telling her family about me, and her family was like, we're very glad that y'all are together. And she said, yeah, he's a very serious man, and he's very quiet. He's about his affairs, his business, things like that. So she was really telling them more about me, because it's like I'm just getting to know everybody, and she's kind of filling them in. She represented me, and that's another thing too. We need women on our team, and we need to watch them during the mate selection process. Just watch them and just listen to what they say. We don't always have to give women instructions in the beginning. We can just kind of just watch, and she's represented me well. So I really appreciate that about her. That's actually one of the big reasons that I like her.
Sure.
But yeah, we as men, we also need a skill. We also need trade skills.
Yes.
And skilled tradesmen actually make more faster than people with white collar jobs.
Right.
And when you come out of college, and say we're both 23 years old, you have a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration. And I'm 23 years old, and I go to school for a year for HVAC, or heating, ventilation, air conditioning. I'm probably going to make more money than you that first year.
Right.
So
that might be Ishmael. That's Ishmael.
So yeah, so we're gonna end the video because we got a rest of our party coming in. But brother, I hope to pick this up soon.
Oh yeah, we definitely going to continue this. Anybody want to give any shout outs to? You know how we.
Yeah, shouts out to you, brother. Of course, shouts out to Moore Kush Society. You know what I'm saying? The brothers over there, they've been big support, big help. Shouts out to the folks over at Moorish Harem as well. Shouts out to some of our Israelite brothers, the ones who are really teaching the ancient traditions.
Yes,
and structure and order. Shouts out to y'all, and definitely shouts out to all my supporters over the years. Even those of you who are new to my work, I really appreciate it more than I can express verbally. But I hope soon to thank y'all in another way by gifting y'all with certain things when these other projects drop, when they pop off. So y'all can hit me up on YouTube. You can contact me there. You can message me there. You can also contact me on Facebook, and you'll see me in a blue shirt, beard, and with the polygamist papers in my cover photo. So
yes, sir.
Peace.
And Brother Hondo, before we close out, now, do I have your permission? I also want to upload this video on my YouTube channel as well. Right now I have one video and more counting, but do I have your permission? Because I like the information that was shared in this.
Yeah, download yours as well.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Peace.
Okay, peace, everybody.